Now, let me change subjects here. Speaking of extremists, let me talk a little bit about Barack Obama here. Barack Obama, we started the show yesterday with a letter that came in from Cardinal Dolan. And Cardinal Dolan issued a letter saying, the Catholic bishops were invited to the White House to work out a few wrinkles on this whole, hey, you got to, do abortions as Catholics. And the wrinkles that they had to iron out was shut up, sit down, and listen to the enlightened voices. They were lectured that they really didn't understand. They weren't enlightened. And they didn't understand, really, the Catholic thinking. And here are some Catholics that the Catholic bishops should start to listen to. It's shocking. David Barton put together a whole list of things, and I just want to say that, he's not, Barack Obama's not anti-Catholic, because he's also attacked the Protestants as well. And so he's not.
Equal opportunity.
He's equal opportunity. Mm-hmm. So but I want you to know he's not anti-Christian. He's not, because he also has been really more than disrespectful to the religious Jews as well. So it's the Christians and the Jews and Israel in particular. He hasn't been so Protestants, Catholics, religious Jews, the Jewish nation. He's more anti-biblical because he's enlightened. He's more anti-biblical than, and I'm still in the Bible here.
Still in Bible County?
I'm still in Bible County or country. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm in the text.
I'm still in the text.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you couple that, that he's kind of anti-Bible, and then his smoochy smooch love affair with Muslims and Muslim nations.
He has a smoochy smooch love affair.
Oh, well, could I give you just a couple of examples?
All
and
right,
I've only got
sure.
a couple of them.
All right.
Okay. So let's just look at a couple of examples of his acts of hostility towards people of biblical faith. Okay.
So-called
biblical faith. I'll use the air quotes there. Solar flares. April 2008, Obama speaks disrespectfully to Christians, saying they cling to their guns and religion and have antipathy to people who aren't like them. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
February 2009, he announces his plans to revoke conscience protection for health workers who refuse to participate in medical activities that go against their beliefs, and fully implements the plan in February 2011. Wait a minute, that kind of sounds like what he's doing to Catholics now. In April 2009, when speaking at Georgetown University, he ordered the monogram symbolizing the name of Jesus be covered while he was making a speech. May 2009, he declined to host services for the National Prayer Day established by federal law at the White House. So it's just, he's got a couple of those things.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a big record.
That's not that bad.
And then there's April 2009. In a deliberate act of disrespect, Obama nominated 3 pro-abortion ambassadors to the Vatican. Of course, the pro-life Vatican rejected all 3. October 19th, 2010, Obama begins deliberately omitting the phrase about the Creator when quoting the Declaration of Independence, and he's only done that on
twice, once or twice,
a little more than that.
Probably 3 times. Then
no,
maybe.
No.
4?
No.
4 times he's done that?
No, 5.
He's done it 5 times.
Actually, it's 6.
Okay.
No, actually, it's 7 times. He's done it now 7 times. Okay. Oh, but then in November of 2010 was his first time when he quoted our national motto, E pluribus unum, which is not our national motto. Established by federal law, our national motto is In God We Trust. But no big deal. January 2011, a federal law was passed to transfer the World War I memorial in the Mojave Desert to private ownership. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the cross in the memorial could continue to stand, but the Obama administration refused to allow the land to be transferred as required by law and the Supreme Court, and refused to allow the cross to be re-erected as ordered by the Supreme Court. On Monday, they decide whether or not the government, and Barack Obama decides whether or not the government is going to destroy the cross against the Supreme Court. That's on Monday. But that's all he's...
I mean, that is a significant list.
Except for February 2011, He filled the post in the State Department for more than 2 years. Obama didn't fill the post of Religious Freedom Ambassador, an official that works against religious persecution across the world. He filled it only after heavy pressure from the public and from Congress. Then in April of that same year, the first time in American history, Obama urges passage of a non-discrimination law that does not contain hiring protections for religious groups. For the first time in American history, forcing religious organizations to hire according to federal mandates without regard to the dictates of their own faith, thus eliminating the conscious protection in hiring, which kind of goes back to the first thing he did. And then in August 2011, the Obama administration releases its new health care rules that override religious conscience protections for medical workers in the areas of abortion and contraception.
Right. And we know that one.
But then in November of 2011, he opposed inclusion of FDR's famous D-Day prayer in the World War II memorial. He just didn't want that prayer there. You put everything else there, but you don't want that prayer. And then in November of 2011, unlike previous presidents, he studiously avoids any religious references at all in his Thanksgiving Day message.
Yeah, but he wasn't the first president to exclude overt religious tones in the Thanksgiving message.
No.
Was he? I mean,
no.
So it's just those things. There's just a couple
and then there's December 2011, Obama administration denigrates other countries' religious beliefs as an obstacle to radical homosexual rights. And then January of this year, he argues that the First Amendment provides no protection for churches and synagogues in hiring their pastors and rabbis. In something that in the Supreme Court, Kagan actually even said, I don't think you have a case here. And Scalia stood up and said, excuse me? You're now going to tell who they can hire as a rabbi or a priest? Yeah. Then February 2012, the Obama administration forgives student loans in exchange for public service, but announces that it will no longer forgive student loans if the public service is related to religion.
All right, so we were up to today. And I mean, that is a significant list. I'm not going to deny that. But I think he could make a case.
I mean, it's been 3 years.
It's been 3 years. And
if he was really...
Okay, I'm just on page 3 of 11. Here we go with part 2, act of hostility from the Obama-led military towards people of biblical faith. June 2011, the Department of Veterans Foreign Affairs forbids references to God and Jesus during the burial ceremonies at Houston National Cemetery. August 2011, Air Force stops teaching the just war theory to officers in California. The course is taught by chaplains and is based on a philosophy introduced by St. Augustine in the 3rd century.
No tradition behind that.
No. September 2011, Air Force Chief of Staff prohibits commanders from notifying airmen of programs and services available to them from their chaplains. 2011, Army issues guidelines for Walter Reed Medical Center stipulating that no religious items, Bibles, reading materials, and or facts are allowed to be given away or used during a visit to Walter Reed. 2011, Air Force Academy rescinds support for Operation Christmas Child, a program to send holiday gifts to impoverished children across the world because the program is run by a Christian charity. 2011 in November, Air Force Academy pays $80,000 to add a Stonehenge-like worship center for pagans, druids, witches, and Wiccans.
It's about time because it's a long time coming.
February 2012, the U.S. Military Academy at West Point disinvites 3-star Army General and decorated war hero Lieutenant General William Jerry Boykin from speaking at an event because he's an outspoken Christian. February 2012, the Air Force removes God from the patch of Rapid Capabilities Office. February 2012, the Army orders Catholic chaplains not to read a letter to parishioners that their archbishop asked them to read.
But really, druids haven't had their due in our society in a really long time.
Let's go back to the hostility towards biblical values. January 2009, Obama lifts restrictions on U.S. government funding for groups that provide abortion services or counseling abroad, forcing taxpayers to fund pro-abortion groups that either promote or perform abortions in other nations.
Yeah, but the persecution of the Jewish has been...
Then we have in January 2009, the president as a nominee for Deputy Secretary of State asserts that American taxpayers are required to pay for abortions and that limits on abortion funding are unconstitutional. March 2009, the Obama administration shut out pro-life groups from attending a White House-sponsored health care summit. March 2009, Obama orders taxpayer funding of embryonic stem cell research. March 2009, Obama gives $50 million to UNFPA, the UN population agency that promotes abortions and works closely with the Chinese population control officials who use forced abortions and involuntary sterilizations.
March 2009 was a big month.
Yeah, it was. Here's May 2009, also a big month. The White House budget eliminates all funding for abstinence-only education and replaces it with comprehensive sex education.
Finally.
Anytime you put comprehensive in front of it, you know it's bad.
Finally.
Yeah.
Comprehensive immigration reform, comprehensive.
In 2009, Obama officials assemble a terrorism dictionary calling pro-life advocates violent and charging that they use racism in their criminal activities.
Nothing more violent than life.
2009, in July, the Obama administration illegally funds federal benefits to same-sex partners from Foreign Service and executive branch employees in a direct violation of the Federal Defense of Marriage Act. September 16, 2009, Obama administration promotes and appoints as EEOC Commissioner Chai Feldblum, who asserts that society should not tolerate any private beliefs, including religious beliefs, that may negatively affect homosexual equality.
Good for Chai.
Did you even know that? 2010, July, Obama administration uses federal funds in violation for federal law to get Kenya to change its constitution to include abortion. August 2010, Obama administration cuts funding for 176 abstinence education programs. 2012, in September, Obama administration tells researchers to ignore a judge's decision striking down federal funding for embryonic stem cell research.
You know what's interesting?
Yeah.
We've talked about a lot of these.
By the way, I'm only on page 5 of 11.
Oh.
But go ahead.
We've talked about a lot of them. And when so some of them aren't surprising, but then when you put them all together in one giant
you tell
list
me
like
that you tell me this guy is a Christian. You tell me this guy believes in the Bible. You tell me this guy is in step with you, America, because if he's in step with you, then I'm out of step with you. And I am gladly out of step with you. If this is what our nation is, I haven't even gotten to the anti-Semitism stuff. I haven't gotten to the pro-Muslim stuff yet. Wait until you hear that stuff. Your head will pop off your shoulders. There's stuff in here. We do this for a living. There's stuff in here I didn't even know. By the way, it's all up on theblaze.com and glennbeck.com, or will be shortly, and it's all footnoted.
Show your friends.
There's 6 pages of footnotes. So you can say, well, that was out of... No. Here's the footnote. Here, you go look it up yourself. Here's the directive. Here's the order. Here's the speech. Here's where he did it. All of it's footnoted. Go ahead. Show me. Show me how this isn't an attack on all biblically based religions. If you want the Druids and the little, the altar to the other gods, if you want all that, that's great. That's great. I'm not with you. I have nothing against Wiccans. You live your life, I live my life. I'll see you up on the other side, and one of us is going to be really surprised. If there's a giant wicker man up there, and I'm going to go, holy cow, didn't see that one coming. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, you do what you do, I'll do what I do. But I have to tell you something. This is insane.
Wiccans don't worship wicker guys.
No, they don't.
It's not about wicker.
Their church is...
No, I didn't say that. It's a wicker. You've never heard of the Wicker Man?
No.
Oh, you know
who's the Wicker Man?
The Wicker Man. It's a great movie. You should watch it. It's an old movie. It's pagan druid stuff, I think. Yeah. And they make this giant wicker man and they set him on fire, and they usually trap a little child in its head. But the child's like, let me out of the Wicker Man.
Sounds charming.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Just so you know, the Wiccan's church is not Pier 1. They do not
say wicker like it's. I know Wiccans.
Okay.
Don't have anything to do with wicker.
Okay,
but
just to make sure.
Really, you should look up the reference of the Wicker Man, because then you'll be entertained.
Then we'll be laughing.
You'll be laughing. You'll be like, oh, I saw that. I saw that movie. It's great. Okay, anyway.